So I have a clue. Is it possible that subconsciousness does not need any language? So it's kind of way that a kind of beyond is going through it. I don't know. I have no other English words to describe it. Possibly you will help.
No, I think you're exactly right, because it understands any, and that's why sometimes you'll have in a session somebody will be, speaking their native language, and then all of a sudden another language comes out. It doesn't matter. It understands everything. It's the universal consciousness. So it's like Kaiya was saying, it's like symbols and images and just concepts that are coming into it, and it's just got to use the person's language, to translate that, to interpret or whatever, to bring it through. I remember in one session somebody reporting to us that my mother appeared in the session, and they said, and she started speaking Japanese, because these were some Japanese people that were doing it, and she was speaking Japanese. They're like, I didn't know she could speak Japanese. It's like, when you're in that realm, you can, it isn't separated out.
Great. What I can say, how many languages did you adopt already?
Level 1, we've got it in French, Spanish. Oh my gosh, it's in quite a few. Are we maybe 10 language? Japanese, Chinese, Russian, Hebrew, Italian. Then level 2, now, but since this last year we went online with it, so then otherwise we were going to countries and we were being translated at the time when we would do a live class. But to do the online, now we've got that format. It's really good how we're doing that, and the material is fascinating. It's, oh my gosh, it's so good. And so now, since we've got that solid, now we can translate it, and that's where we're just finishing up with French, and then you are next, Russia.
Oh, great. So that's my next question. You make a progression with this interview. When the Russian audience will get in touch with QHHT level 2, what is your plan?
Well, now that we have, because we've gone through this first translation, I think it'll be easier to get the next one. So I don't know, do you think 2 months is too soon, Kaiya?
That's what I would say. I would say in 2 months would be something realistic. So it's a big course. It's not a small course. There's 34 lessons. There's question and answer sessions. There's bonus material. There's teaching on how to develop social media that I teach, and website and presence, and talking to people about QHHT. It's everything you need to know to make a business out of QHHT and make really good money doing something you love. It's not a job. It's something you actually love doing every day. It's not really work when you love it.
It's a kind of way of life.
Yeah, exactly.
And can you make a compare the real course level 2 and online course? What is the difference in general, possibly?
I would say the training is exactly the same. The difference is when you're together in the group, there's students practice on themselves at night. So that is a benefit of the live class. But the online class, there's a really big benefit too, in that you don't have to try and learn the material in one day and then get new material, and then the next day you get new material, and then the next day you get new material, and it's so fast, where the majority of the feedback we get from the online is it's a great way to learn, because you'll never go too fast. You always will be able to go at your own pace.
Yeah, another thing that we're being told is as they go through the courses, then they, like you're saying, they can retake and they can keep looking at it, but then they're also going and they'll have a session with some stuff that they just learned, some information they just learned, and they start applying it immediately. Where in a live class, it might be a while. I mean, they're practicing on each other so they can work there, but it's wonderful. They're going out, having their sessions, and seeing results immediately. To me, I feel like it's stronger. These practitioners that are coming out of our online classes are stronger faster than the live classes. It's all the same information, but like Kai said, it's like a marathon and all of this information, so it takes a little while to process it coming out. So I feel like this gives them process time in the online course.
I can say that Center Пробуждения Awakening in Russia is very proud that he will can announce this QHHT level 2 in Russia, official level 2, and represent level 1 in Russia, and with a kind of successful that people know that they can get a help and online help with forum and with our help. I mean, in Moscow, that is native speaking, the people who already teached and starting practicing. In Russia, I heard several stories that people in a kind of regression session, not by QHHT, connected to the spirit of Dolores Kэнnon with different kind of stories. Did you know about that, and what do you think about it?
Well, I hear a lot of stories of people saying that my mother is coming into their session, and sometimes they will ask for her. Is she there? Does she have a message? Things like that. And actually, I encourage people before a QHHT session, if they're a little nervous or anything, or if they need guidance, feel free to call her in and ask her to help you through it, because she'll give you some tips and everything. I don't have any problem with that. I think it's great that they are, I mean, that's one of the things that she said she wanted to do. When she passed, she said, I can do more on the other side than I can now I'm limited now, so I can do more on the other side. So she's available and she's out there for everyone. Now, that's in general. Now, here's something that happens is some people, I think they're connecting to any information. And it's like, why do you have to put a label on it? Sometimes I don't know that it is my mother. People will send me messages and say, does this sound like her? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And so call in any of your guides. Call in. That's what I do. Call in my guides to help me to ask the very best questions in the session. Get yourself centered. I'm all for that. But don't get hung up on having to label the information that comes in. It might be the SC. It might be, just higher information that's coming in. It doesn't have to be Dolores. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's clear. And I would like to ask Kaya, what is your opinion about these stories and how you define for yourself? Is it true or not, or you deny it and just going on?
Yeah, I'm sure that, Dolores obviously was such a powerful figure, and it makes complete sense to me. She was very powerful on Earth. I think she's very powerful wherever else she's gone to. And I think some of her energy is still resonating here on Earth and doing really good things for people and impacting sessions in ways sometimes where it's appropriate. I'd also say that unfortunately, some people sometimes tend to make things up, and some people can say that there's a message from Dolores when they know it's not Dolores, and they're just saying it because they can get attention, and no one can really prove it because it's something that's very esoteric. So, you take the good, you take the bad with the good, and you look to the good and hopefully not think too much about the bad. And I think that's kind of the reality. What I do think is, as we continue to advance and we continue to do this and, think about a better Earth and do things for a better Earth, I think that the times when these kind of imposter people are around, I think that starts to go away, and there's not as many fraudulent people in general. And people get back to doing what they think is good in their hearts and not trying to trick anybody ever. You do what you think is right, and what you put out, you get back. I think that's the type of world we're getting more into.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this answer.
I would just like people to use discernment. I mean, if you hear a message, just don't take it at face value. Oh, Dolores, okay. It may not, like I said, just use your discernment. Just because somebody puts a name on it doesn't mean, it's like, that might be something else. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for this comments. That was my question, how to define or checking or double checking. And if we started to talk about Dolores, it's a kind of mystery in Russia how she had passed away. What's going on, what's happened. If it's possible, please tell us.
Okay, I'll try to do it without, I think I'm far enough away from it that I can do it without being emotional. It's still, you think it's things go, but I think she's right here, and that's why I'm feeling her and why everything. But what happened is, what started everything, we had just done this very, like, the largest classes ever, live classes. And so now we were winding down. It was after the class, it was maybe a couple of days after, and she was going to the hair salon, okay, to get her hair done, right? And as she was walking in, she was walking up some steps, she fell backwards and hit her head on some concrete. So that was the immediate there. Now, she healed herself from that. She had like 3 brain concussions from that. That healed immediately. All right. But then she was kind of going in and out of, in her healing process, she was doing a lot of sleeping. And I had some psychics checking in on her, like, what she's doing. And they said that she was just trying to decide whether to go, whether to stay, things like that. And we would have conversations. It was like, this was very quickly that it happened. It was 3 weeks from the point that she fell to that she died, that she passed. So, and she was going in and out of these states, and we would talk about it, and she would ask me, we would just talk about, what do you think this is all about? Wonder why this happened. And so that's how we would talk about it. And I said, well, they're telling me that you're visiting the council on the other side, trying to decide what to do. And she's like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, that makes sense. And so, okay. And so then she was just doing that. And then all of a sudden she had an infection that just took her over. And it just happened so fast. Mm-hmm. And so then what we were told at the very end was that, because we didn't really know at that point, it was like everything was shutting down. I took it as she's choosing to leave, and this is her choice. It's all going. The one doctor made a comment, something about sepsis that was contracted in the hospital, which makes perfect sense to me, because she really did not like hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess
it makes sense that she would create a situation from that event that actually it was sepsis that just took over the body, and everything just shut down. But like I said, it was really just she chose to leave.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for these comments. Sorry for disturbing your memory again, but anyway, you are working with death and life every day. I guess it's a kind of way of life, and if we will continue to...
It is, but it's different when it's your mother.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just that at the time, because I've had a lot of time to process this too, and kind of go back over pieces and parts, and it was definitely her choice. It was when it happened, when they gave me the announcement that she was going to pass, I remember walking back in her room, and I looked at her and I said, really? This is what you want to do? This is like, we had this partnership, we have this stuff we're doing, and you're going to leave. So, it was her choice, but I see now, what she's doing, so I get it.
Some people, when they understand that Dolores passed away about 6 years ago, they just started to imagine why Julia does not make a kind of meet her higher self and asking questions and etc. And did you ever try that your higher self, asking from higher self Dolores?
I had one session, and we did. It was not planned to ask for her, but it was really interesting, because I'm so aware in a session that, if something happens, it's really personal, my conscious mind will really come up to the forefront. And so the question was that, it was like asking for a message or asking for Dolores to appear. And I was like, and my consciousness just came full force, and it was like, it was too personal. And so we see, that's where it's like, it really wants to know, okay, what's she going to say? It's the same thing we teach in class. If you hit a really personal question, that's what the conscious mind is going to do. It's going to come up and go, okay, what's happening here? And what tends to happen is it will shut everything down. So, but I've been able to talk to Mom myself now. And like I said, I had the message from her. When she was passing, I heard her say, I can do more on the other side. So that I have that. And then I have all these things she's done since then. I get, I see what she does. She's in every single class we teach. And then she brought Kaiya. I'm like, and so
This is the main message from this side. Great.
you know, it's like she's still, I so many things. I can feel her, like she's in the background pulling strings, you know, she's doing some things there. So I see her presence, and if I need to talk to her, I can call on her at any time. So I don't need to go into a session and do it. I can just talk to her.
Good.